Hello and welcome to another video. In this video we're having a look at this little force that I've got set up on the table, which is a force of Valhallans, 5 vehicles inclusive of, we will say, 4 heavy sport choices, 4 troop choices, an elites, a HQ, and 2 fast attack / troop choices, troop carriers. So let me think. Truthfully, I can't remember how much I spent on these, but probably somewhere in the region of lower than £40. Evidently, you might notice from previous videos and probably from just the view of this camera that these are not entirely brand new, perfect, that kind of thing, in that these are all homemade, basically saying that these, again, if you've watched any of my previous videos, you'll realise the Lehman Russ in the background are made from scratch, and so are the Hellhound / Chimeras, depending on how I want to play them. In the background also, the Valhallans themselves are made from milliput molds, molds and made from milliput. So these are not real models, so to speak, but what would have cost me in excess of, good gosh. So Lehman Russ is probably about £33. Don't know what it is in dollars at the minute. The Chimeras would have been around about 50 quid or something. The Valhallans themselves, oh good gosh, we say 40 quid for a squad of dudes. So we'd say, maths is not my strong point. So 40, 80, 120, and then 160 for those guys. Those probably would have been about 30 quid a pop, maybe 20 quid a pop for the unit, maybe more than that actually, I can't remember, for the heavy sport choices, but we'll just say in excess of £200, which are basically made for, I say around 30, mainly specifically because I can't remember after even making them all. I made them ages ago, that they would, I think it was probably, and this is inclusive of the mold making material. I think to make 10 models of the guys, it would have been about £3. But then there's the mold stuff, which was about, I can't remember now. Was it 20 quid, maybe? So that's pretty much it, yeah. An army for less than 30 quid. Yeah, we'll go back to the main point of this, is that it's clearly never ever going to be a substitute for the real thing, unless of course you're really good at making these things, or that you are literally just using them for home play and you just want to use the models at home, really, and your opponents don't mind, because that way you can get the same, because we are playing a game with toys, so we are pretending that these guys shoot strength 3, 2 shots at 12-inch range, and they do 1 damage with no armor piercing whatsoever. The Lehman Russes, depending on if it's got a plasma cannon or the battle cannon, a high strength weapon. Oh my gosh, this is quite late when I'm recording this. Sorry in advance for the yawns. Or the Hellhound variant copies are also D6 or 2D6 or whatever it is, hits that automatically hit. We're still going to be pretending whether it's a cardboard one or a plastic one, the same rules. So you could, I do argue, I do put it to you, that you could use this for home use instead of a proper army. And from this distance, it looks okay. From close up, it doesn't look great, but I like that it's rounded off the force by adding the vehicles. There's definitely, I will say, a whole better way of doing the tanks. Suffice as to say, if you go through, there's a Facebook group, but there's also websites like Papercraft 40k, and you can make your own made out of, like, you could use like cereal cardboard or something like that, or literal paper, and they look amazing. They literally look like the real thing. You could use plasticard to do it, but you could definitely do the tanks a way 100% better. I literally just used these because I moved recently into this new house, and I had so many cardboard boxes, and I'd made one tank in the past, and I thought, why not? Why don't I just make them? Because I had bits left over, because all I've done is used a heavy flamer on the turret and on the base, on the whole mounting weapon. Oh my good golly gosh, it's getting very late. And yeah, I thought, it's, why not do it? I mean, it's just literally just for fun, really. I have used these guys in a battle report before. I haven't used any of the vehicles. I'm pretty sure James might not be too pleased about it. He's almost explicitly told me that he wouldn't be. But I still propose that if you're, for instance, thinking about buying 3 Lehman Russes, and you'd like to see how they're going to perform before you do that, you could well build a cardboard one. You could build chimeras. I kind of still want to build a Baneblade, a cardboard Baneblade. The issue with that is it's a lot harder than these, because the majority with these guys is you just build the cardboard, the tracks in, and like put 3 of them together, and that's your sides, and the base, the body is made out of like sheets of cardboard, like in the angles that they should be, pretty much. And the turret is a really lazy, easy way thing to do. All with hot glue. The thing with the Baneblade is that the tracks, themselves are very big, and are basically a box of themselves. So you kind of have to make 3 bare minimum if you only made, for instance, we'll say like a Stormlord or a Shadow Sword, in that the box is like right at the back and it's mainly a straight thing. There's a lot to it, but I still think you could do it, but these are easier. I kind of feel like maybe I should have made 3 of the Hellhound Chimeras, then I'd have 3 and 3. And mainly because I'd be using those Hellhounds, they could run as a trio, or there'd be 3 fast attack choices. Because at this point here, the only thing we don't have is we've got elites, we've got heavy support, we've got fast attack, and troops, and a HQ. I think that's everything, isn't it? I think that is everything. So technically we've got everything in one force, probably not a massive thing. The elites, by the way, is literally just the troop models. It's just a command squad with 2 flamers and a a heavy bolter, and obviously the 4 heavy support choices are the 2 squads of mortars, and the 1 squad of heavy bolter, and the 3 model unit of the Lehman Russes. Anyway, I'm going off on a massive tangent here, but principally, I think, so this would be, again, it'd be alright to use at home with friends and stuff. And I mean, I kind of liked building the tanks. And I like the fact that the table now is almost full of stuff that isn't real. Do you know what I mean? It's like, right, so what I should also point out, everything that you're looking at so especially with the guardsmen themselves, did take many hours of work. Not in the painting specifically, but like in everything, the mold making. And again, mainly because it takes, 3 to 5 hours for the milliput to cure. This took a long time to build. However, it wasn't me for 5 hours each model. It was, I could make 2 or 3 at a time, and then wait for them to cure, and then make another 3, then make another 1, make another 2, that kind of thing. But point being, oh my gosh, stop yawning. If you guys have not yawned through this whole video, then you are champions of champions. Put it in the comments if you haven't yawned through this whole video. So what you don't pay for in money, you're probably paying time with. I think I want to conclude by asking questions, as in, what kind of things would you have made, or would you still make to this? Because the Imperial Guard really are about tanks, and once you've made a Chimera chassis, which I have, it's pretty much the Chimera chassis and extra bits. The Lehman Russ is the Lehman Russ. The Baneblade is obviously a separate tank, and they're in its varieties. The only other real ones that I haven't made are a Sentinel or possibly a Taurox, but I don't think I fancy making a Taurox because it's very angular, if you know what I mean. It's like, it's boxy because that's what it is, but it's weirdly boxy. I'm kind of leaning, and oh yeah, and the other thing beyond that, vehicle-wise, would be Valkyrie, Vendetta, that kind of thing, which I think would be way too hard to make as cardboard, but I might be wrong. Would it be too hard? I think it would. I think it would, to be honest, and to be truthful. I intend, maybe in the long run, making a Land Raider out of cardboard. I'm going to borrow James's Land Raider and make one, I think. Just again, just for funsies, just to see how it would look. I think... Oh my god! 50 yawns. 50 Shades of Yawn, that's what it is. I think it's because I got loads of sleep last night. Whatever. Yeah, I mean, I think making another couple of tanks might round it off, because I think this could be used as an army of its own volition. It's not going to win any major battles. I could also use the tanks in the background to fill out my other army, or vice versa, use my other tanks to fill out this army. But on a standalone force, it could be used just as a little starter army. It's a little starter army. There's a lot of models here, but I could basically use it as a starter army, going along the lines of saying that it would, you know, someone else, so like my kids could use it and I wouldn't worry about them breaking it so much, because whilst it would kill it, I wouldn't have spent hundreds of pounds on this. It's like 30 quid or something daft. You know? I mean, maybe it's because I'm a tight-fisted guy. Maybe that's why I'm finding so much joy from it, because I appreciate a lot of people won't. And a lot of people would be like, yeah, it's just pants, to be fair. I'd rather just have the full models. And if you would, then go for it. I'm not even arguing with you on that one. I do agree that the proper models look better. But I am somewhat, again, mainly from my tight-fisted mentality, somewhat amazed at what I've produced from being a cheap son of a gun. You know, maybe it's only me. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple of pictures of this. I'll probably put them on the Wargamer Unification group or something else, and just maybe put some on Pinterest as an interesting little thing that I made. And if I never use them ever again, I might just do a giveaway with them, which I might well use them again. I'm going to see if James wants to have a game against my fakes. I don't know if I'm going to have to convince him to do it, though. That's the only problem. Because we did have a game. We did have a game where I basically used the Valhalla models with my real tanks, and he was fine with that. So maybe he will. Maybe he will. Anyway, how am I going to wrap the video? The video to be wrapped up is effectively me saying that for around 30 quid, and that's literally just the costs of the milliput, and that's probably not even close to it, because the cardboard was all free. I had the bits left over from my other tanks, and vice versa, and from Ramshackle Games, which he gave me, but they're like, you could probably get like £10 worth of turrets out of everything. A Footland Army, I don't even know what it is in points. I should know, since I'm a guard player. I just don't know off the top of my head, but for like a little army, for like less than 30 quid, when you look at the rest of everything else, especially Valhalla models that you don't get anymore, like, it would have been insane. And I'm quite happy with it. As much as some of the models are quite low quality, for a little force, it's pretty. I've rambled on and said the same thing over and again. Okay, so the feedback I'm looking for, if you've made it to the end of this video, I would argue is, what would you make to make as another fake model towards this guy, to these guys? Because I don't think I could make a Sentinel. I think that would be too hard, and I don't think I could make a like a Titan or something like that. So just give me a heads up of what you think you might make. Also tell me if you think it was absolutely horse poo, do you know? That's fine. Specifically what you thought was horse poo about it, but definitely tell me. Thanks for watching yet again. I'm going to say au revoir and subscribe or die. Thank you very much.